Can you talk about some of the things you see on why it's better to this stage this year, what you're doing?
I think there's several factors that go into that. I think that in general, so far, we haven't seen a ton of exotic things from defenses trying to get after the quarterback. Obviously they're doing that, but there are some teams that really pride themselves on giving you exotic looks, and some that don't necessarily do that. Some count on their down guys going and getting the quarterback, and I think we faced some of those teams so far. I think there's been a concerted effort on us being better in pass protection. Coach Colombo's, talked about that, and we worked on it in the offseason. And as a group, we worked on it without the coaches, things like that. And I think that as an offense, I think things have evolved in such a way that it's better for the offensive line, it's better for the quarterback, it's better for the receivers and tight ends and running back who are catching the ball. So I think it's a multifaceted approach to the improvement in protection.
And I mean, all this links together, and I understand it changes each game, and it's hard to give percentages. But I mean, as far as you guys doing your job, the receivers winning their routes earlier, and that getting the ball out of his hand quicker, how does that all fit in? I mean, is that always a moving target every game? Or
Yeah, I think that changes a little bit each game, but I would say on average, if you were going to put it all together, it's a third, a third, a third, somewhere in there where everything all works together. On defense, you talk about rush and cover work together. If the coverage unit is doing really well, it gives the rush team more time to get to the quarterback. And if the rush team is doing better, the quarterback has to get out of his hands quicker, makes it easier on the rush people. So football is really the ultimate team sport, and that everybody has to be working together on all the plays to make it all work.
Other people have pointed to your communication and your ability to see what's going on defensively. Do you believe that factors in as well, just because you've kind of you've been versed in that for a while, you've done it, and that's something you pride yourself on?
I think that helps. I don't want to take credit for it by any means, but I did learn a lot last year in being away from the game and studying it from a different angle. So I think that's helped. I think that Dak is another year experienced in that as well. So not only is he looking at where to throw the ball, but he's looking at some of the protection stuff as well. So between the two of us, I think we've taken a combined big step forward. So I think that's helpful. Like I said, I think there's a lot to be said about the work that the other guys in the offensive line have done to improve their individual pass protection games as well. I don't know. I don't know about that. I think hopefully back is when I'm at the top of my game, and I'm certainly a ways from there. But as I've said along the way, I'm happy with the checkpoints that we've been to. I'm happy. I think I played better this week than I did the previous week. I think week one was a good starting point for me, and if I can continue to improve through the season, I think that's where I want to be.
How come describe what it's like when you What's he like?
Interesting is the best word to describe that. Coach Colombo is a really great young coach. We're fortunate to have him. He brings a lot of energy to the table. One of the things that we appreciate the most out of Coach Colombo is his experience. As a guy that played for as long as he did, there's something to be said when a coaching point comes from somebody who's been there before, who knows how hard it is for that tackle to cut off the three technique, and knows how hard it is to have a guy screaming off the edge and a linebacker coming down the middle. Sometimes it's harder to take that from a coach that hasn't seen it from that level. But when you got somebody like that that's been there, been in the thick of it, there's a little bit of understanding there. So I think that he's done a really good job of creating a sort of team atmosphere in the offensive line room, where we're all working together. It's really a team thing, from the coaches, from the players. There are sometimes things that we work with him to get. As veteran players, we know what we need for the week, so we'll talk with him to get that done. And he does a great job of presenting us with the things that we need to get prepared for the week as well.
What kind of challenges do the Dolphins present you guys?
I think the Dolphins are going to be a great challenge for us. They got some really strong young talent up front, which is going to be a great challenge for us. A lot of speed in the back end of that front seven. The linebackers do a great job, and certainly their scheme is going to challenge us. They're going to really try and work to eliminate the run and force us into the passing game probably. And once that happens, try and shut that down. So it'll be a great game.
This isn't a problem in the room. You never take any opponent for granted, but the assumption outside is, they're struggling, they've been blown out a couple times, you guys are playing great. The assumption is you're just going to win this game and move on to the next one. How do you battle that when it's so pervasive outside of here? I mean,
I think that's it's something that comes with experience, and for us, my experience is that no matter who you're playing and no matter what the outside world thinks, that person across from you is a professional football player and has earned their right to be in the NFL. And there isn't one person in the NFL that you can say is just, a slack off. I don't have to be at my best this game because, especially on the offensive line, if we play 65 plays and you give up 2 sacks is a terrible game, and it's not just sacks, it's the run game too, but you have to be at your best at every moment. And so there's no looking at an opponent and saying that guy's not nearly as good as the guy I played last week, because anybody in the NFL can whoop on you in any moment.
Parsons was here, you put up mouse traps and things like that. Jason's not a guy that does that. How does he get his message across?
I think it comes about consistency. I think our team is young, in years, but old in experience. And like I said, I think that our team is very well aware of what a game can be when you have people on the outside talking about it like that. And I think if you asked around the room, there isn't anybody in here that believes that this will be an easy game. Everybody understands what a challenge it'll be, and that we need to go out there and be at our best if we're going to be able to win this game.
So when you were at Wisconsin and you were playing whoever, man with a small school,
Indiana.
Ohio State.
Ohio State.
Did it take you a while to figure that out? Like show up today.
College is an interesting thing too, because you have the continual cycle of freshman, sophomore, junior, senior. So you always have those older guys that have been there and that are quote unquote beating it into you how you need to be playing. There's a lot of tradition stuff that goes into that, and I think that's a little bit different than the NFL. But you also have older guys, more veteran guys in the locker room that are helping you out with that too. So I don't think at Wisconsin we ever thought about a game being super easy, because you still want to go out and do your best. If it's an opponent that's Division II opponent or something like that, they're going to give you their best. Because they get to be on national television, and it's their opportunity to take down a big program. So those games can sometimes be a trap, as much as it can be.
I'm sure there were plenty of 20-point spreads in your Wisconsin days. Did you think 20-point spreads were even possible in the NFL?
Again, I know you don't see it very often, but to me, listening to people from the outside make a prediction on that, is really difficult, because, like I said, the NFL is so tight from the top to the bottom. You talk about the best team versus the worst team, historically, if you just look back to last year and where it was. The difference in that is a couple of bad bounces, maybe a couple interceptions or whatever it is. There's a really minute difference, and from the outside it might look bigger than that, but on the inside it's a tight game.